Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a great day so far. Mine's going pretty well. Well, except for some reason my Twitch dashboard won't load, but I've just got another tab of my stream open, so I guess hopefully I'll be able to see all the chat in there. And I don't think I'll need to change my game tag or anything, so everything should be fine, but just a little annoying. Hopefully it'll be fixed soon. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to some programming. To open up Studio, so I'll do that while we're waiting. Look at this. So what we need to do is do blending of the corner triangles and then blend cliffs together. Bring back up my wonderful little diagram of the trigonometry that we did yesterday. Hopefully that'll be all, because again it's a little bit too late for me to try and figure out that kind of stuff on stream. Let things up. We want the blend diagram here. And so, okay, I think this is one wedge of a hexagon. And yesterday we needed to find this length here because we had to figure out this point. And so then we did some geometry, or trigonometry, figure out x. It's not really that difficult, but the reason we need to do that is because we still have one strange little piece of the hexagons that are not created yet. So when we jump in game, we can see there are these holes right here. And so these triangles actually need to blend between 3 different colors. And that's what this over here is about. So this corner is the average of both neighbors' colors and my own. So that would be this neighbor and then the neighbor counterclockwise. And while this color is the average... Oh wait, no, this is for this triangle. And so this point here is the average of mine and the neighbor that we're facing. And then of course this corner here is just my color. So I think we can go ahead and start on that. Oh. Alright, so here again, right now we just take the average of my color and then the color of the neighbor we're facing. And that's good for that rectangle that we built right here. So now we need to build these, and to do that we'll need to get, I guess, the colors for both neighbors, clockwise and counterclockwise. Let's see, best way to do that. Guess we'll go ahead and get all 3 colors here. And there's a way that we could do this. We could optimize this so we don't have to get... Because right now I think we're going to have to get the color for each neighbor 3 times during this loop. So obviously we could optimize it, but I don't feel like it is going to be super important in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so this will be the counterclock, or let's just get facing neighbor color. This. Okay, and this is another wrinkle in it, is that if the neighbor is not valid, then we just treat that color as being mine, meaning that we're out of bounds. Okay, so how will I... I think we might need to write another function here to take care of this. So how about get neighbor okay, well, let's just do color for now. No, let's do it this way. So it'll be side and then offset. So that way we can get either clockwise or counterclockwise by passing -1 or +1. So then neighbor side is side plus offset. And then, so we're going to need to do modulo 6 again so that we wrap around. And the side is always between 0 and 5. But one problem is that if we have this negative, then this could be side 0 -1, and negative, it still works with modulo, but it doesn't work how we want. So we also just need to add another 6 here. And under modulo, adding 6 is basically, I mean, it just does a full loop around. So it's equivalent, but it'll help us in case the offset is negative. And okay, so I have the cell index. Where I get that neighbor. Oh, okay, so it's just, I guess that works. What is this? This is exposition. Okay, I guess I'll pass that. And next part. So we got the neighbor, and now we've got to call this get prototype. Only if the neighbor is valid. So if neighbor is valid, and then I gotta actually return the color. Return get prototype. Column, row, color, and then if it's not valid, then we'll just return our own. And again, just to keep things simple, we won't be super efficient right here, and I'll just get our own prototype like this. Probably, yeah, we will need to come back and optimize this a little bit, probably because this turn mesh is going to need to be able to be rebuilt during play, and we don't want this to take long. So, facing neighbor color. This will just be position. And I and 0. Then we'll have clockwise and counterclockwise. Okay, so now we have all that, and I guess we don't really need to have this separate outer color. So again, in fact, let's just make this a little easier. My color is block prototype.color. The quad is really simple, it's just my color and then, oh okay, so we do have to take the average, so my color plus facing neighbor color divided by 2. Okay, and now we need to add this triple point triangle. Okay, so do we have, yeah, we have all the points we need. So for here, inner A, outer A, then outer C. Is that clockwise though? Starting here. Clockwise, yeah, it's like that. It's fine. Okay, and so the colors, inner A is just my color. Outer A corresponds to this point, and so that's the average of all 3. Plus, okay, so this is the counterclockwise. Divided by 3, I said. And finally, it's this same color here. So yeah, again, we could optimize this a little bit by caching these color values, but I'm not going to worry about it just yet. Okay, and then this other triangle is this one, so it's inner B, outer D. And the only difference here is that instead of the counterclockwise neighbor, we just have the clockwise neighbor. And I think that should do it. Okay, so let's reload this and see if it works. Gotta recompile first, of course. Okay, interesting. Did I wind it wrong? Okay, yeah, so some of the triangles are backwards. Looks like the first one I did was right. Probably, yeah, here, because I just flipped it. So this one actually has to go inner B, outer D, then outer B. Yes, that was a silly mistake of me. I always, so common for me when I'm trying to deal with these meshes is to wind it wrong. Okay, so I just gotta flip this around. And then, of course, flip the corresponding colors. Alright. Okay, so now everything's looking good. If we look in game, see the blending is finally complete. I mean, it doesn't really look that good, but this is just a first try to try and get the hexagons to blend a little bit together. It's better than sharp edges, I guess. Okay, so we can see there's 2 problems here. One, it doesn't take altitude into account. So, for example, these points, the neighbor should actually just be this color because there's air outside. And second problem is that the cliffs don't blend. So, for example, right here, it should blend down into green. Or, yeah, I guess it should, huh? I was gonna say maybe the cliff shouldn't blend and then this green should just go to gray, but for now we'll just make everything smoothly blend. Cliffs will be a lot simpler because we don't have to deal with triangles, they're just perfect squares for now. Alright, let's fix the elevation issue first. I don't actually, yeah, these should be two separate issues. This, take elevation to account for the blend colors. My dashboard's still not up, but OBS is saying everything's okay, so I'm just gonna trust it. Alright, so I guess most of the work we'll do will actually be in this. So if the neighbor is valid and okay, well let's see here. Okay, let's tackle one problem at a time. We're gonna need the altitudes, both myself and the neighbor. My layer equals surface, it layer, cell index. So I gotta convert position to a cell index, which is pretty easy. It's just the row times the board, the row size. I forget where I store that. Yeah, board row size. Okay. Plus column, and again these cell indexes don't take the altitude into account. And so then the neighbor layer equals surface layer. Same thing here. Oops, not my position. Okay, so I guess we should check if the neighbor is valid first before we try and get its layer. Do the same here to save a little bit of calculations. So if my layer equals neighbor layer, let's test this for now. Otherwise, we want to just use my color. Didn't mean to edit, but that works out fine. But yeah, this is not completely true, but we'll test it out. Okay, so one thing that should look better is these hexagons should not try to blend with the air anymore, which they don't. But there is still a problem here. This does not try to blend to gray, so it's just flat green. And you can see a little line here. Even if we did want this not to try to blend into the cliff, it doesn't look good right there. So what we actually have to do is test if the neighbor is below us, then we just use our color. If the neighbor is above us, then we need to actually get the block of the cliff that we're next to, which would be our layer plus 1. Okay, so yeah, if my layer is greater than or equal, oh no, just equal. This, if my layer is greater than neighbor layer. Okay, so here we want to get the color of block one above our layer, which is block looking up the cliff beside us. So it would just be neighbor, but then it'd be my position layer. Okay, let's actually use these my layer. Oh, that was wrong actually. This should be the neighbor layer. Because I think actually, yeah, the layer that's passed in with this hex position might not be correct. A little confusing, isn't it? Yeah, so we don't have to get the layer because we already have it. Or we don't have to get our own layer because it's passed in with my position. A bit like that. Oh, okay, well let me, yeah, that's read only, so we just need to create a new hex position. For column, for row. Okay, so there, that one is a bit loud. Okay, so let's just change this. Okay, this way we won't have quite so many variables to take into account. Or I guess I should say we won't have unneeded variables that could cause confusion later. Okay, so that's all good now. Oh, except this should be my position. And then, okay, so this is my position plus 1. Alright, so let's see how that looks. Okay, so we want to look at these edges. Yeah, it does start to fade to green. Still, doesn't look great because the cliffs don't actually blend. Get someplace without shadows. Yeah, but we can see here that it's trying to blend into the green, but then the cliff is just not reciprocating with the blend, so it doesn't look perfect. Okay, so alright, so we want to try and make the cliffs blend now. I guess we can get this off our list. So really, all we have to do is there needs to be a cut around the top and the bottom that would try to blend. But I think I might also just bring these edges down and also cut along the side. It's going to be... We don't really need to do that now, but I think later on it will be helpful when we try to make more complicated cliff faces that don't just move straight down. But I guess I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I don't know. I guess I'll just do what we need for now, and we can, of course, always change it later. Okay, so now that I take care of the colors separately, I think I'll move this cliff logic down below it just to keep all of this together. So this is all basically for the top of the hexagon. beginning to think that we need to break this function up. Problem is we need all these values for all the math down here. Okay, well, I'll just leave it for now. Okay, so for now on the cliff, we just add 2 triangles. It's really simple. But now I guess we want to do a bit more. Bring up paint again. If I can draw a little diagram to help me think what to do. Okay, so got just the basic square, which is one face of the cliff, and then down here is like one triangle from a hexagon. Then up here is the parents, or the top. Well, I don't know. We really need those hexagons to be visualized. So we basically have a point here, and a point here, here. But like I said, we don't really need to use those just yet. What we really need to do is just have these strips that run on the top and bottom. Then we'll have triangles will go that way. But I won't draw them because that's just going to things. Okay, so let's draw the points. We have okay, so let's assume the top's position, it's moving around clockwise, so this is actually the first point. So this will be A upper. Oh, that was a bad B. And then C upper and the upper. Then we have the same things down here. Lower, lower. It's just really hard to draw with the mouse. Lower, okay. And then we just need to figure out these 2 points, which will be, we'll have some kind of cliff blend length. What do I want to call this? I guess this will be a I think the suffix that makes the most sense would be something like blend upper. Blend lower, and then we'll have a B as well. So really there's not that many new points, and all it is just A or A upper or A lower with an offset. That's pretty simple. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is allow the mods to specify the cliff blending length. Can I rename this top? I think I will. Then here. top and cliff length. Then in the asset organizer, we just need to rename these variables and add in the new cliff. Right now I still support 0, well, nominally, because I don't actually use or check for 0 at all in the actual math. The problem with that is that if this was 0, then outer C would equal outer A, and so we'd actually create some empty meshes. In fact, probably to make sure that there's no errors, I should set this to some small value. If I want to later on to add support for 0 blending links for just crisp colors, I mean, it's always something I can add later on. Okay, so I think we're good there. One thing we'll need to do here is have a higher and a lower color. Actually, now that I think about it, flip it back Unity. Oh, now I think it's going to give me an error. Wrong thing loaded here. Okay, so I got to, in the block prototype, I just need to set a valid top blending length and also a cliff blending length. I wanted to do. Okay, so now we can load the game up, and the reason is because I just realized that we might need to do the slide clippings after all, because this point, yeah, it's theoretically could be shared between 3 different tiles, see? And it's at the outer triangle that needs to be an average of 3. So yeah, we definitely will need to make things a little more complicated. So technically, okay, you could just have like a triangle like this, but I don't know. 3D modeler in me doesn't like it. Although technically these faces would be unneeded because there's not going to be any blending here because, oh wait, no, there can be, because the neighbor on this side, yeah, we could blend with a different colored cliff right there. Okay, yeah, so I just wasn't even thinking, was I? Okay, so let's see, what do I want to do this? Or how do I want to label this? I guess this would just be C blend upper and the C blend lower, and same with this. Like a D. An 8. Okay, well I hope that this makes sense. Okay, so this, we actually need to know a bunch of different colors here, don't we? So, this point blends with the top, but also the top of this neighbor over here, which could be air. And then this neighbor does the same thing. So I guess there's only 3 neighbors we need to care about. But it's clockwise according to this lower side, so it's a little different. I don't know how. I guess I'll just draw something else here. So this is the cliff face. I'll try and draw something isometric, I guess. And then there'd be another hexagon here, another cliff. This hexagon at the bottom. Okay, so this point here, the average of, let's just call this M, lower, yeah, so I think we also need to know about, we need to know about the neighbors on the top elevation and the bottom elevation. I guess that's okay, but I don't really know a good way to draw that here. So this will just be, I guess from the cliff's perspective, this is clockwise, although I think it's actually counterclockwise from the hexagon's perspective. Let's just call this clockwise. And counterclockwise. Alright. So I think we can figure out the colors pretty easily. Let's just start doing each of the points, which they're all pretty simple because they're just squares. You don't have to do any trigonometry. Okay, so yeah, I won't worry about the colors. We also need to know the low blend y, which is this low y minus, I need to know my prototype, don't I? Or don't we? Okay. I'll just keep with the nomenclature, and this will be the higher proto, which is also the owner of the cliff. And the layer, okay, so I actually have to do it down like this. Okay, so now we know that. That's the higher prototype, cliff blending length. Oh, but no, because we actually need to get the block prototype for whatever layer we're on right here. So I can't just use that. Maybe sugar. Yeah, this is C#. Okay, so let's do this. Block prototype, low prototype, lower index, and then layer below us. Block prototype for the higher prototype. Higher index at this layer. Not a fan of C#. I think it works pretty well. I mean, not the fastest, of course, but... Okay, so where was I? Oh, right. C++. Yeah, I know. Could tell by the kappa, of course. Okay, so the low is the low y plus the low prototype. Fifth blending length, and then we'll do the same thing for the high blend y. Except, of course, we will subtract. And so that will give us the height of this line and this line. But I really should have created this in a vector drawing. I just realized that would have been a lot easier, probably. Alright, so let's see. We got the heights now, and I need to get these specific points, but it's just an offset from these 4 points up here. Fortunately, this cliff does not have them. I don't really want to have to calculate them again, but this is a lot to pass between these methods. I guess I will need to try and fix these together. Or not fix these, package all these together in some structure that I can pass around. Using OpenGL, this is going to be in Unity, so okay, I guess it's just whatever they use. My shader language that I will be using is the oh, okay, my mind just went blank. Let me look it up. Yeah, CG. Right, so yeah, back to what I was here. I need to have some structure. What should I call it? It'd be nice if I could also package these colors together, maybe. But maybe I'll just focus on the points here. Okay, what do I want to call one fan of the hexagon? Could be a triangle, but that's going to get confusing with the mesh triangles, I think. Maybe I'll just call it a fan, like I said. X fan points. So we'll have, and again, do I want to be more descriptive here? I mean, these point names match my diagram, but I don't think they make much sense just in and of themselves. Really, I don't really D and D. I don't like a whole lot either. I don't know. For now, I'll leave it. I do need to add some comments. And then we have the outer A and B. Oh wait, yeah, I got this backwards. There's no inner C and D because they are the same as inner A and B. but I will need this. Now I can move all this code out somewhere else. Oh wait, no. Private x fan points. Get fan points, and we'll pass. It needs the side and also unblended length from the block prototype. See what it gives me here. So rename that shortly, and then we need the vector 3 center. Could just have it pass this hex position, and then we could figure out the prototype and the center from that. Or even more decentralized, we could just pass the cell index. Okay, so hex position equals. I'm going to be copying some of this code, but that's okay. Right now I'm just trying to make everything easy to understand, and then once we've written everything and have figured out how everything's going to work, we can go back and try to optimize. Think I write clean code? Oh, well, thank you. That's always what I try to do. And then the layer. You don't actually need that for this, so I'm just going to pass 0. Oh, well, we do because we have to get the block prototype. Okay, and now I just realized another problem. I wanted to use the cliff blending here, but I actually, because it has to match up with blending on the top, it actually has to be the top blending length. But I guess this distance here can still be different. But what about... Yeah, I just realized that the blending length needs to be global between all hexagons, otherwise these points won't match up always. Okay, so can't be in the block prototype because then things won't blend correctly. I guess if I really wanted to, I could try to have those lines match up by like lerping them together, but that seems like way too much trouble. Yeah, because I don't really... I was just trying to give options to the mod writers, but I don't know... Can't really think of any reason why a certain block would want to have less blending length than another one. Okay, so now I need to change those values so that they are just defined in the table of contents. And we'll have a cliff blend link. And now here, where we import everything from the mods, I'll just move this code out from the block prototypes to the actual I guess table of contents parsing. Okay, do this backwards and you this should actually test that before I set it. I mean, it's basically the same thing, but I'm trying to keep the pattern consistent. Oh wow, this is a big error. I set the hex radius twice there instead of the layer height. I guess it wouldn't cause any bugs, obviously, but things wouldn't look correctly. Okay, so here... Also, I'm breaking my rule of whenever I use a value more than once, I don't want to have to drill down so many dot operators. Let's export this to something else, another function. What do I call it? Let's add metrics. Of contents. I guess there's no logical table of contents, so I could just specify just plain table of contents instead of the mods table of contents. And then actually create the metrics. I guess that happens in the game data constructor. So this is a lot cleaner, I think. The metrics up. Oh, where did I put that? Did I not put it anywhere? Okay, I guess I didn't add it yet. Up blend length and public float with blend length. I guess this is more hexagon, so I'll just do that. Okay, so the hex blend length is the table of contents, block up, and then we gotta do the same thing here. This is a little different. These errors because there's no block prototype. All right. Alright, it's block top. Let's copy it. And that was an error too. I don't think I put the cliff when link there is still the top. That's the problem with copy and pasting code. This is the cliff. Okay, so now that's all fixed. Let's go back here and yeah, I'm not going to worry about this code because we're not going to be using it. So first we need to get, we don't need the block prototype anymore, we just need the metrics. And let's see. I think this is all good. Although, of course, we should be creating this X fan points structure and then setting all the values inside. Oh no, I don't think we should do that. Because some of them depend on others. Everything should be happy if I just add the dot operator. Points. Dot inner A. Now we just gotta return this. Okay, and now, nice thing is we can take this code out of here. And we'll just have the hex fan points. Well, points, I guess. Wait, just index. Then we have values ready to go. And I have a feeling that we'll also want to do the same thing with some of these colors because we're just going to be reusing them, but they're not as difficult to calculate, so I won't worry about it right now. Okay, so now this cliff, we'll want to get a reference. I guess I don't really have to get a reference to it because I could just call it again. I have all the information I need, but that seems like a bit of a silly thing to do, because that will really slow down the code. So corner A and corner B actually specified endpoints now. I'm pretty sure, yeah, these are identical. It's just inner A and or outer A and outer B. So let's do that. And so I don't need this prototype just yet. It's just in the metrics, but I think I will need the prototype, well, definitely when we do colors, but I kind of want to test this code since I've messed around with it a lot. Okay, so this color is just going to be nonsense for now. We'll come back and fix it later. Have any more errors? Oh right, and then I need to pass the points here. Okay, and so I'll take this out of the block prototypes and move it into our table of contents file, which is right here. Actually no, it's in the framework. I'm just thinking now that the framework specifies this. I guess it already specifies the height and the radius of the hexagon, so it's not that big of a difference, but I don't know. Content mods are supposed to actually provide the graphics, so I kind of like them being separate, but can't be helped. Gosh, the indentation got all messed up here. Okay, so yeah, I changed this to just blend links instead of blending. Okay, so let's try to play the game, and hopefully it should look almost exactly the same, except the cliff faces will be white. And I hope I haven't messed up any math. Is there an error? Okay, no, it's okay. Okay, something is wrong. Get rid of all this stuff. Bad top blending length. Oh, right. It's block top blend length. Oops. And probably block cliff blend length. I guess I could make these different to test if they actually work. Yes, let's do that. Oh wow. Okay, so let's fix this. So first of all, I think that point A and point B need to be reversed. I don't know if I like the naming in that case, but this should be outer B, I guess. Another reason that I don't like the naming of just using letters, but let's see if that fixes the error. I don't know why there's like a pyramid. That's kind of strange. Oh, actually I do, because the points, I think, ignore layer. Okay, so now at least cliffs are working. Also, if you notice, the cliffs are shorter than before, and that's because we changed the cliff height, or fixed that bug where the cliff height was being set to the radius. Okay, so right here, you need to know the layer, I guess. Yeah, I think so. I'll just copy and paste this code because we're doing the same thing. Alright, so that should fix those pyramids. Alright, so now everything is back to how it was before, except we have white cliffs. Which I will get rid of. Yeah, there's a strange little artifact, but I think that's just shadows are kind of like casting on itself, which is a little strange. I wouldn't worry about it because I have a feeling that when these cliffs get more complicated, that will fix itself. Okay, I was gonna say this green is wrong, but that's actually true because this cliff will be green. Or that's actually fine because that cliff will be green. Alright. Now if we go back to the cliff. I think I actually want to rename these so they match up with this. So I'm gonna just temporary, and this will be corner B, corner A. And I could just use these and not even have a separate variable, but make much difference. Okay, so now we have the low and high blend. So what this should do, these triangles are the center. Oh, and these corners should actually, they need to be the D and C actually. We have the sides to take care of. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's fine. Lines up perfectly, and the winding is still correct. So I think just to make things a little easier on myself, would that be easier? Actually, the corner B, we just need to change this. Then outer C, or corner A becomes outer C. And one more time, let's test it. Okay, still fine. Okay, so these are okay. These are the oh well, one other thing we can test, but these are supposed to. This is supposed to be the middle rectangle with no blending. So this should here. We just need to change the low with low blend Y and high with high blend Y, and I think the middle triangle will be good to go. And then the color is just the higher prototype.color. So now we should have a middle rectangle floating in nothingness, but it should be the correct color, and then we'll just need to fill out the edges. Oh, it's actually really small, probably because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it looks fine. I guess that's one other thing the mod should test, because the blending length times 2 needs to be higher than the actual block height. So I guess, where would I do that? Here. So if metrics dot cliff blend length, actually, because also this blend length needs to be less than the hex radius. And we should have a little bit of leeway, I think. Okay, or the table of contents dot block cliff blend length times 2 is greater than or equal than the layer height. Okay, so that'll just make sure that things are looking make sense. Oh. Things should still pass. It loaded. Once it loads, we'll know for sure. Okay, I guess the leeway was a little bit too big. Still doesn't like it. Bad top blending lengths. Did I? Oh, I did this backwards, didn't I? Okay, yeah, that was silly of me. I also should have a little bit of dimension as well. Okay, so now everything's fine. Let's see now. Okay, so we've got the middle triangle. Let's do the top rectangles. So the top, middle, rectangle. Let's call this the center. Okay, so now we're going to draw this. And it's pretty easy. Keep getting lyrical songs tonight. Okay, so I can keep the pattern of the winding here. And it's really just going to be this, but we'll set different blends here. The low will become the blending low, and then the high will become, oh wait, that should be blending high, and then high will stay the same. I want to have a placeholder here, I won't confuse myself. Low blend Y becomes high blend Y, and then what was high blend Y just becomes high. Oh, except I'm replacing the wrong thing. Okay, well, that actually works without having to do a placeholder. I guess we could also just say add quad, huh? That is this function's made for doing this, and that way I wouldn't have to deal with all that. Let's see. Let's convert this. Leave it to the little ones to sock it to the antelopes and banner notes like piano notes detailing all your anecdotes. Ha, yo, you running like a cantaloupe, eloping with your bitch like I was packing a torpedo boat. I'm just thinking about how the colors would fit. I guess all the quads, yeah, it's just a smooth color in one direction, so yeah, fine. Okay, so I might have the winding here backwards first time, but we can fix it, of course. Okay, so inner A becomes the outer C at the low. The next is the outer A, which is this one. Okay. And okay, I just gotta do this. Okay, now we have to set the colors, which for this hexagon, or this rectangle, is just our own color. And I think that's it. Okay, so now we'll do the same thing here. Except again, the low becomes the high blend Y, and the other one's just high Y. Yeah, this is going to simplify things because I won't have to make sure that the triangles are wound correctly themselves. Okay, and so at the lower color, oh wait. Okay, this is actually the inner color. Yeah, okay. They even called that. So the inner color is mine, and then the... Okay, so actually this is not... It has no blending ever. Yeah, the top middle rectangle is just my color to the top color, which is mine. Although, wait... No, it needs to be... If there's a prototype, or if there's a cliff above us, then actually it needs to blend with that cliff face, which could be different. Okay, so let's see here. Maybe I should just call get color. I want to call this same thing, but with layers instead. But I think this would be slightly different. But it can't use the exact same logic, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so get cliff color. We don't have to do a neighbor, that's nice. Well, I guess actually we do, because it'd be my position. Shifted the offset. But I type new twice. Dot column and position dot row, and then my position dot. So do we want to do an offset, or do we want just specify the layer? I think we'll specify the layer. That is not there. So we do need to test test if it's valid, of course. If not, we just use mine. Don't need to do that. Okay. What we actually need to do... We will have to do the the lower index, which is the neighbor, if wait, I'm confusing myself. Okay, so basically, yeah, I think I'm getting ahead of myself trying to write this function. So the inner color, which is just my color, but the outer color is my color unless we're not at the highest layer, which means that it is the color of the prototype above me. Let's do that. L less than higher layer. Then it is get prototype higher index, L plus 1, color, or it's just my color. Oh, I spelled that weirdly, didn't I? Okay, so let's delete this. I think that is good for that. Try it out and see. Oh, it's wound wrong now. But it looks fine. So how did I do this? I did this... I guess the high is actually the inner because it's going downward like that. This is how it's wound. Okay, so I guess that kind of makes sense because we work outwards and then downwards. I don't know. This is how it'll be. I need to flip these around. And here starts high and then I switch to blend. How come it keeps not? And then I need to switch around the order of these colors as well. So let's see if I got the winding right now. I always do it backwards, it never fails. Okay, yeah, so that's fine now. Okay, and we can actually see some blending here. So this cliff will be all green, and we can see this cliff is starting to blend into the green up top. Nice. Move over here. Okay, so let's try and see if I can finish the lower rectangle now. Okay, so we start at the top, which is the low blend Y. And bottom is just the low Y. So the color of the top is my color, or the higher prototype color of the cliff face. And then the lower color is if L. There's 3 possibilities, or no, just 2. If L is greater than the lower layer. Plus 1, which means it's not the first. Then we would just get the prototype. We get the color for the cliff below us. Otherwise, we use the lower prototype's color, which is the thought I had it right here. Oh, I called it low prototype. And the lower prototype, oops, not copying. Okay, and the lower prototype is the prototype of the block at the bottom of the cliff. I think that's all I have to do there, so let's look and see if it works. Some weirdness here. Oh, right, they need to average. Yeah, you can see the problem right here as well. Okay, so getting a bit messy. I need to figure out a way that I can clean it up a little better, but this is the average of those two, and I'll need to do the same thing for here. Okay, so now I think everything is working. Yeah, that's smooth right there. And then let's move somewhere without shadow so we can see better. Oh, that still looks a little weird, doesn't it? Get off the... Yeah, that's definitely not correct. Did I average wrong? Oh. Yeah, here where we get the lower prototype color, we still need to blend. Okay, I see what's going on. We need to blend no matter what. Yeah, this is starting to get really messy. Right, yeah, that looks much better. Let's see in the game engine. Perfect, and here we can see a two-way blend. The blending area on the cliffs is definitely too large, but we'll leave it for now. Okay, great. So now we just need to do these sides and then the little corner squares. They shouldn't be that much or that difficult, although I might have to change the way I don't know if I can use this function again. So I need to have something a little bit more versatile, I think. Maybe the add quad function should just take 4 colors, one for each point. Yeah, because that way I'd be able to use the add quad function even for those corner squares, which would be nice. And maybe even the add triangle should just be, well, I guess if I pass 2 colors, I can just have an override. Yeah, that's a great idea actually. Like, this can just be add triangle. And then here, we would just call add triangle A, B, color, color, color. And now actually add quad could use add triangle. Okay, let's do that real quick before I sign off for the night. So we'll start with inner A, outer B, inner, and so color, watercolor. Okay, so this is nice because I don't have to duplicate the code here. And now I'll also want a version of add quad that takes 4 colors. So I should just change this to be a D, and then this would be color A. Oh, let's rename this so I don't have to type everything. Wait, why is it renaming the values there? That's annoying. Okay, and this is color A, color B, color B, and color D. D right there. Okay. So we'll need to convert this later, but make sure that the game doesn't explode. Okay, and this is just add triangle. Okay, so everything still looks fine. Okay, so now we're all set to do those last few rectangles, and then what else? We'll be done with blending, so yeah, we'll do subdivisions and then height maps, which is where the fun really starts, I think. Yeah, so I think that's it for me for tonight. Thanks everybody for watching and coming by and chatting. I do appreciate it. If you want to catch up on any of these streams, I do have a YouTube channel. You can, and I'll post this and of course all past streams on there. We also have a Discord if you want to chat with me and other viewers. We'd really appreciate it. It's kind of small community right now, so I'm trying to get some more people. And I also, of course, have a Twitter to, if you want to be notified when I go live, and subscribing here on, or following here on Twitch also does the same thing. You can reach any of those by typing !, YouTube, Discord, or Twitter in chat, or by looking at my video description. And yeah, that's it. Again, thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.